News just coming in. 5 terrorists have now been trapped in the Handwara encounter in Jammu and Kashmir. There are 2 anti-terror operations that are currently underway in Kashmir. One at the line of control in the URI sector of North Kashmir and the other in Handwara. In URI, the army is combating a fresh infiltration attempt at the line of control. In Handwara, 4 to 5 terrorists have now been trapped. Even as we speak, there is a very fierce firefight that is on. Last when reports came in, unfortunately, Indian Army has suffered 1 fatal casualty. The army has lost 1 brave Jawan. At the line of control, initial reports seem to indicate 8 terrorists were cornered. They were targeted while infiltrating, but Pakistan appears to be giving covering fire for the terrorists to escape. India Today's Padmaja Joshi and Shujaul Haq report. The second big Pakistan terror strike in URI in a little over 50 hours. Pakistan Army providing cover fire to the terrorists, even as Nawaz Sharif prepares his little bundle of Kashmir lies to be opened at the United Nations General Assembly. The terrorists pushed back by the army, who gave it back measure for measure.
Just ahead of the Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's speech at the UNGA, there has been an escalation of the violence on the line of control between India and Pakistan. 2 encounters, one in URI and one in Handwara. This as there is already tension in the state of Jammu and Kashmir for past more than 2.5 months.
This even as Pakistan got a dressing down both from the United States and the United Kingdom. US Secretary of State John Kerry raised the URI terror attacks with Nawaz Sharif. And now External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj is all set to lead India's diplomatic war on Pakistan. She will fire the opening shots at the United Nations General Assembly coming week.
Let's wait to hear what Sushma ji says. I'm quite sure she'll very vigorously, forthrightly, very effectively put India's position on this in the UN General Assembly.
हमारी डिप्लोमेटिक ऑफेंसिव भी चलेगी, स्ट्रैटेजिक जो भी उत्तर देना होगा वो करेंगे. इतनी बड़ी कार्रवाई का जवाब देना है.
The army is already on the offensive at the line of control with one of the most successful anti-infiltration operations in recent times. Hot pursuit may not be an option just as yet. The armed forces are intent on ensuring no repeat of URI. With Shujaul Haq and Padmaja Joshi in URI, Bureau Report, India Today. India Today now gets you the inside track of India's big diplomatic offensive. The aim is to isolate and expose Pakistan as a state sponsor of terror. Earlier this morning, I spoke to General V.K. Singh, Minister of State External Affairs. Let's listen in.
Pakistan's upping the ante. What is India's policy as far as Pakistan terror is concerned?
Actually, from the time that we started saying very vigorously that Pakistan has adopted of the state to sponsor terrorism, and we have been telling this everybody, they are just trying to find ways and means to nullify this actuality that has been conveyed to people. So this is part of that. Let them do it. We are doing our job, and I'm quite sure the world realizes as to who's the sponsor of terrorism.
Why isn't India taking steps to declare Pakistan a state sponsor of terror and take steps accordingly?
Well, it will happen. I think we have conveyed to very many friends of ours what exactly is happening. And I think in the world everybody realizes that the epicenter of terrorism lies in Pakistan.
So whether it's, Sushma Swaraj, what will be the tone and tenor of her address at the United Nations General Assembly? What will you be speaking internationally? What is Government of India's strategy to expose Pakistan terror to the world, General?
No, I think wherever our people are going, we are conveying this. Let's wait to hear what Sushma ji says. I am quite sure she'll very vigorously, forthrightly, very effectively put India's position on this in the UN General Assembly.
Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif got a tough dressing down from the US Secretary of State John Kerry. While Nawaz tried to rake up the Kashmir bogey, John Kerry slammed him, saying Pakistan must crack down on all terror in its territory and that US was very concerned about the attack on the Indian Army base in Kashmir. Pakistan is also in the line of fire of UK, Russia, France, Germany and closer home, Afghanistan and Bangladesh. No wonder Nawaz Sharif is running away from cameras.
Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, his Foreign Affairs Advisor Sartaj Aziz running away from the Indian media, ducking questions on URI. A tight security cover around the Pakistani leaders to stonewall questions on the URI terror strike, before Nawaz repeated his Kashmir rhetoric during his meet with the US Secretary of State John Kerry. As Nawaz prepares for a fresh Kashmir rant at the United Nations General Assembly on Wednesday, this is the proof he avoided. Recoveries from the Jaish terrorists made in Pak markings on food, arms and ammunitions.
Pakistan has adopted as a policy of the state to sponsor terrorism. In the world, everybody realizes that the epicenter of terrorism lies in Pakistan.
What has rattled Nawaz even more? India stepping up the anti-Pak offensive and finding global support, including from America, Afghanistan, Germany and Russia, which even halted the joint army drills in the Pakistan-occupied Kashmir.
I strongly condemn the terrorist attack on the Indian army base in Uri in the Jammu and Kashmir region. Germany stands resolutely at India's side in the fight against terrorism.
I think this is high time. The United Nations General Assembly is going on. This issue must be raised against state sponsorship of terrorism by countries of this region and by the global community.
India has launched a multi-pronged diplomatic offensive. Sushma Swaraj will lead India's offensive at the United Nations General Assembly. In South Asia, Afghanistan and Bangladesh have already given indications they stand with India should India decide to boycott SAARC summit in Pakistan. In fact, some of the SAARC nations want a counter-terrorism conference of state sponsors of terror to isolate Pakistan.
官方面通过对话协商解决分歧，并加强反恐合作，这样才能共同维护地区的和平与安全。
कि बहुत लोग जाहिर है कहेंगे ये किस तरह ये फॉल्स फ्लैग ऑपरेशन है, ये क्या है, इसकी टाइमिंग क्या है, एकदम कश्मीर में जो हालात हैं उस पर इंडिया तो आता अंडर अटैक एट द यूएन जनरल असेंबली और सुषमा स्वराज उसका जवाब दे दी.
Nawaz does what he's best at, use Kashmir to feed its media, to avoid real issues plaguing Pakistan. Bureau Report, India Today.
But Pakistan is cornered this time. The URI terror attack and Pakistan's state-sponsored terror is the litmus test for the world, says Afghanistan's ambassador to India, Dr. Shahida Abdali. He said the entire region stands with India against state-sponsored terror and will back tough measures taken by India. He spoke exclusively to me earlier today.
What is the road ahead in actual terms? What are steps that India, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, countries in the region, what are steps we need to take?
Well, as per our experience, we have been reactive so far against those who use terrorism against us. But I hope we will end that approach, that we mobilize a global and regional response and a strategic and a long-term response. The ad hoc response has emboldened those who use terrorism. Therefore, my suggestion would be that we convene in the outset a regional conference by countries who are suffering from this, and then take this position to the global stage, particularly under the leadership of the United Nations. We have to convene a global conference against terrorism, especially against those who sponsor terrorism.
Pakistan-sponsored terror at this stage, Ambassador, is far more dangerous, not just to this region but to the entire world. I mean, whenever there's a terror attack, the link is traced back to Pakistan. In terms of tangible steps, if we were to talk about Pakistan, or who is responsible, sir, for the attack, for example, on the Indian mission in Jalalabad or Herat, or your parliament building in Afghanistan, where is this fountainhead of terror according to your investigation?
Well, terrorism has been blatantly used against us from across the border, against us, against India. There has been no dispute anymore. The world is talking about the sanctuaries, the support networks, the state involvement directly in the use of terrorism against countries like Afghanistan and India.
India is a victim of Pakistan-sponsored terror, and a tearful nation today bid farewell to 18 of our brave sons who made the supreme sacrifice at URI. As the martyrs were cremated with full state honors, their grieving but proud families had one request of Prime Minister Narendra Modi: make sure these deaths are not in vain.
They say a soldier does not fight because he hates what's in front of him. He fights because he loves what is behind him. The brave hearts in URI gave up their tomorrows for India's today. The nation bid a teary farewell to the heroes who laid down their lives in the line of duty, fighting terror in URI. In Bihar's Bhojpur, Havaldar Ashok Kumar Singh's father sacrificed his second son to terror. Even at the moment of heartbreak, he says he couldn't be more proud of them. Martyr Javra Munda's daughter is inconsolable. Her father was the sole breadwinner in the family. She says the least the government can do now is help them secure a job.
हमारे पढ़ाई लिखाई में सरकार हमारी मदद करे.
Lance Naik G. Shankar was given full state honors in Satara, where hundreds gathered to pay tributes. West Bengal, Maharashtra, Bihar, Jharkhand, Jammu. India is seething. There's rage simmering in every heart for India's lost sons. India salutes its brave heroes and the sacrifice of their families. But wreaths can't be the only tribute anymore. Bureau Report, India Today.
We're shifting focus now to a very horrifying report from the national capital. In broad daylight, one man repeatedly stabbed a young woman, repeatedly stabbed her. There were many people on the road, not one came forward to help. She fell down, she collapsed, he continued to stab her. This young 22-year-old was stabbed 32 times as Delhi watched.
A horrifying attack in Delhi's Burari area. A jilted lover going on a stabbing spree, targeting a 20-year-old who spurned his advances. Stabbing the girl identified as Karuna at least 32 times. The stabbing spree did not end even as the girl fell down. The killer kept stabbing her limp body. At one point, he's seen even trying to behead her. 34-year-old accused Surendra Kumar, a divorcee, had been stalking the girl for over a year.
लोग जो भी आ रहे थे लोगों को ये कह रहा था कि मैं जो भी आएगा सबको मार दूंगा. एक दो जने बचाने की कोशिश भी की, लेकिन बचाने की कोशिश में कहीं ऐसा ना हो लग जाए ऐसे सब चढ़ गए वहाँ.
मेरी बेटी को अगर लोग मदद कर देते, शायद ले आते, कहीं अच्छे उसमें जल्दी से नजदीक लेके चले जाते तो शायद जरूर मेरी बेटी बच जाती.
While the horrific stabbing was playing out in all its gory details, the passerby simply chose to walk on. Most alarmingly, the crime took place at around 9 a.m. a stone's throw from a police station.
This is a very crowded area, and at 9 a.m. this morning, she was stabbed in broad daylight and no one came to rescue her. CCTV footage shows that after Karuna fell to the ground, bystanders and passers-by still did not do anything. They watched the murder happen and they chose to walk away.
कि जब वो वार कर रहा था उसको उस समय चोट पहुंचाकर या पकड़ने की प्रयास किया जा सकता था, लेकिन कुछ लोग वहां पे नहीं रुके और चलते गए.
The gory crime has once again reinforced Delhi's reputation of being unsafe for women. With Ilma Hassan in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.